Welcome back to building a house every day in Minecraft for 30 days. Today we're on day 11 and I'm building the bottom part of this build. We're using some stripped oak for the sides of the walls and some spruce oak for the pillars. Then we are going to work on this entrance because I wanted the entrance to be apart from the main build. So to break up the build and not be one square. And now we're adding some little details with some oak trap doors, and then I'm going to be working on the roof. At first I did not know what I was going to do for this build. You will see that for the roof it starts looking like a barn, and even in the end it does look a little bit like a barn with this type of roof style, but we actually decide that this is going to turn into a church. So I just keep messing around with this roof, trying to get it in a design that I like, and as I'm doing this, figuring out what kind of build that I want this actually to be. I was originally going for a medieval build because I'm trying to work on my medieval builds for the Surpass the Limits world, but this turned out to actually be a church, which you could still say is in a medieval style, but I would argue that it is, but it's not necessarily good enough for making it to the medieval style. I could have definitely made it better, and yeah, so I spread out the roof out, and then I add the stripped oak to the wall, and then I use some spruce logs to try to separate the bottom layer from the roof layer. And I still think it doesn't look that good. I think I should have used a different block for that top layer, and then I'm looking at if I want to put a cross on there. At that time I decided no, I don't think I will. Later on I do actually add a cross with polished andesite, and then I'm working on doing some stained glass windows, as you commonly see in a lot of churches in real life. So with this I was trying to do a centerpiece stained glass window where, you know, the stained glass would be behind the preacher, but I realized that I didn't actually have it perfectly aligned, and it wasn't perfectly symmetrical. And then I saw this and I was like, oh, maybe I should do people and kind of be like for the people type of idea. So you see that I'm trying to make people with stained glass, and I do kind of accomplish that design, but then I'm like, that doesn't look great. So I go back to the drawing board and mess around with some different designs, say I don't like that design, and eventually I land on this design where there's two separate windows with stained glass of blue, purple, and red in there, and some dark oak trapdoors to break it up. Then I finally add those crosses, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. And I'm like, do I want to do the walls? Do I want to do the stairs that I did originally? And the walls I was trying to do because I wanted a thinner cross, but it didn't turn out well, so I did do the stairs. Now I'm messing around and trying to add some more depth and breaking it up more from the wall. So I add some tough stone brick, messing around with the sides, see if I could add anything to again break up that wall with the textures more. I had some stained glass windows on the top near the roof and the ceiling right here, and it's looking good so far. Now I'm going to add some spruce logs on the sides and then outline it with some dark oak. Continuing to add this dark oak for the outline, and then we're going to add it to the other side just to give it a little bit of a nice contrast between the spruce and the dark oak, to have a nicer contrast and make it pop, so to speak. And then we're going to add some windows onto both sides with that stained glass, and add a little bit of different colors in there. It kind of looks like lollipops, but yeah, a different kind of glass. Now we're working on the interior of where the sermon would be, where the preacher is talking to the different people of the church, and I'm just working on the interior, adding in the actual preacher or pastor, and trying to get that right. Eventually, I'd add in some carpet to have it more of that feel of that there's actually a floor there instead of just grass, because that doesn't look good. And yeah, so I add in the preacher once again, and we do later on add in some shells and some. I don't actually add shells, I add some paintings. Then we're gonna add a window into the side of the roof to break up this roof a little bit more, so it's not just one plain roof and it's not so boring. What do you think of this roof, by the way? Comment down below what you think. Does it feel like a church roof, or does it feel more medieval, fantasy? Tell me down below what the roof feels like, so I know if the roof is on the right theme. So with this window, I'm going back and forth and trying to figure out what kind of window I want to do in the design, moving it around, trying to have it with symmetry because of how the blocks I did in the lengths of them. I did a 2 by 2 glass window, and then I'm going to add a pot where people can do their donations. If you've ever been to a church, most people do donations to the church, and that's what I'm doing here. I was trying to add the diamond-like relic to the pot, but it didn't really work, so I'm adding gold to it and then adding a ceiling to this church so it actually looks right. Or I was going to, and then I realized it might look good if you just keep the top open, because if you've been to a lot of cathedrals, they have kind of an open roof concept. I mean, the roof isn't open, but it's more open than just the ceiling. There's those shells with some candlelight, and there's gonna be a candle right next to the preacher, so he can go around and lighting everybody's candles for a candlelight service. Now we're trying to break up that texture on those walls once again, kind of adding tiles to the wall with buttons. I don't really like how it came out, but that's what I'm trying to do with it. And using spruce buttons, stone buttons, and stuff of the sort. Then I realized maybe I should try birch buttons because it would match the wall more and not be so contrasty with the wall. It didn't exactly come out how I would like, but comment down below what you personally think, and then I'm going to actually be working on these 2 windows on the sides and adding the window design. So I'm working on the window design, trying to figure out what kind of blocks to use, and using lots of different types like polished andesite and blackstone, trying to figure out. And then I'm actually figuring out to break up the wall more by using some planks to give it that more planked look and adding more to that window. And then we're adding a few more window details to make it so this window is actually part of the building, and adding the wooden planks to that wall to break up that wall. And these are pretty much the finishing touches. I do it on the other side and just going around and trying to make everything look right. And that's the main part of this build. Tell me what you think of this church, and if you think it looks good, or what I should have added, what I should have changed. I'm adding in these wooden planks to break up the wall once again on this front part of the build. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole build. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Peace out. Bye.